Oh, you're going to get a shot here. 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 Oh, you're going to get a shot here.
Welcome to the No Shot NBA podcast with Chuck and Duck. And engineer Ben behind the scenes.
The No Shots podcast is brought to you by Dank Delish Coffee. Best beans in the galaxy are the only way to start your morning. Go to dankdelish.com and order some. You won't regret it. You can listen, like, and subscribe to the No Shots podcast on Spotify and YouTube. And listeners, please don't be afraid to send us any questions at noshotspod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Probably read it on the show. Gotta be honest. That's noshotspod@gmail.com. Thanks. Enjoy the show.
Drop me in, Benny. Welcome back to the No Shots Podcast. Episode 15. NBA Finals Preview.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
We got a lot going on this episode. I'm your host, Duck. To the left of me is Chuck. To the right of me, engineer Ben.
Oh yeah, that's left and right.
Left and right, baby.
It's Private Ben today, reporting for duty.
Private Ben.
Private Ben?
Yeah, Private Ben, sir.
Okay.
Captain Charles and
All right, today we're talking about
Sergeant Duck.
Sergeant Duck over here.
What are we talking about today? Sergeant Duck?
Today we will be wrapping up the Western Conference Finals. That's right. We got another in memoriam.
Oh.
We're also previewing the NBA Finals. We got questions from Chuck. We got hot takes, hot previews. We're picking them. And we got the Celtics versus the Mavericks. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna take the whole shebango?
Would you rather fight a horse or a leprechaun?
Shut up, Ben. And we also got baseball players are taking a gamble.
Ben, I would rather fight a leprechaun.
It's leprechaun every time.
They're very wily.
It's
Yeah.
leprechaun every time.
They're very
for
tricky.
me.
I don't know.
I'm already terrified of horses.
Horses
Yeah,
are really scary. It's
those-
true.
Those hind legs are gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
But before we talk about all that, how are you guys doing today? Chuck, we're starting with you.
Starting with me over here?
Because you look like you were about to speak.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Ben proposed that question about the leprechaun or the horse. We did have to face a wild animal this past weekend.
We did.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, that wild raccoon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wild in Central Park.
Raccoon.
Raccoon.
Rocky Raccoon.
Rocky
Raccoon. Rocky Raccoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in Central P.
And I've been around raccoons
Plenty of
before,
them.
but
Plenty.
that was like, it wasn't dark yet at all.
No.
That was what made me nervous.
Always sets the alarm bell off that it's going to have rabies or something.
Yeah.
We were in its territory, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like in the back of a storage warehouse with some dumpsters. And it was a corner where all the dudes in the park would pee.
P corner. P alley.
Piss alley. Sorry to start this pod off with piss, but that's how it was.
Starting off with raccoons.
And then we busted out a sandwich that Danny very graciously brought to share with us in thirds. And then Danny turns, Colonel Duck, turns and is like, that guy's making a beeline right for us.
Well, it was walking on that wall back and forth like Jon Snow.
And we were the White Walkers.
We were, we were
Yeah.
on the other side of the wall.
Well,
But
I'm more of a wildling.
it just couldn't.
everyone hates the cave people.
That's true.
Yeah.
It couldn't find a way down though.
That'll
But
be a
we
wildling,
split.
too.
Yeah.
And those
We
people next
got
to us like,
dodged.
oh look, it's so cute. I'm
And we were like, no, he
this
wants our
thing's gonna
food.
kill you.
He's not
Come for
targeting you.
us.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Listen, I have no problem feeding wild animals, just not when I'm hungry. I'm not sharing.
well, do you guys know Maria?
Maria.
I just met a girl named Maria. And suddenly that name. Go ahead.
But my friend Maria Weiris, she's very talented singer and Broadway performer.
Mhm.
But her mother feeds raccoons in the back of her house, and
Ooh.
she's very friendly with all the raccoons.
I love it when people can just be like Snow White, friends with nature. Like,
I
that.
know.
Like it's awesome.
I do like that.
Yeah, I'm very intimidated because I'm a city kid and
Yeah.
I don't have that communion with animals, but I would like to get there one day.
Yeah, like raccoons could be very cute and friendly, but most of the raccoons I've encountered, just not that. They could be cute, but not very friendly.
Well, you had a legendary raccoon up in Fort Tryon who was apparently the size of a man.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't small, by the way. It was a pretty big boy.
Decent sized raccoon.
He slashed Ray's friend Gustavo.
Yeah.
They can be very aggressive. We read a whole story in one of my classes about raccoons on Monday too. So that's just been the theme of the weekend. I'm doing well though, Danny.
I thought
glad
you
to
meant
hear.
like your college, and you read it on a Monday.
No.
But
We
you're
read-
talking. I understand.
we read like a little children's story about raccoons. And
Gotcha.
how they're like
Yep.
robbers.
Well, that
Um,
being said, how are you doing? What's your nickname for this episode?
Private Benny,
Private Benjamin.
Private First Class. I just got promoted. That's how I'm doing
Okay.
to PFC.
PFC.
I'm looking to become a corporal by the end of June.
We're private
Oh,
first
boy.
class.
I don't have much to report besides what we just talked about. I'm
Yep.
good. I've just been killing lantern flies in my apartment all day. So
Oh boy.
shout out to those
yeah.
guys.
And
Speaking of wildlife,
Well, there's a congratulations in order.
Yeah, congrats to Carol for passing law
Carol.
school.
woo!
Leon.
Well, yeah, but she still's got the bars.
She's
right?
got the bar. She's
gotta
gonna
get-
pass
she
the
gotta get
bar.
bars.
She's gonna
you know,
ace.
She's so smart and
Extremely
talented.
smart and
Yeah,
talented.
she could
so
write her
smart
own
and
rap
talented.
lyrics.
Yeah.
It's fine.
What?
Bars.
Yeah.
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 Good luck, Carol. Who
luck,
knows
Carol.
what this world out there holds for you?
A lot of money.
Most likely.
A fistful of
Fistful of
dollars.
dollars.
Yeah. She's earned it though. She's gonna earn it though.
Oh, yeah.
She's super talented. So
She's great.
Congrats.
Salute
We
to
were
her.
at-
Salute.
we were at her graduation party. It's been
Oh, yeah, how
first
was that?
It was very nice. There was food.
Food?
Yeah, good food.
Liquor?
There was some chicken wings,
Alcohol?
some beer. Yeah,
Beers?
some beer.
There was some punch.
Punch. Yeah.
Someone punched you?
No, but someone recently did want to punch me. I don't remember. No, I don't remember. I'll come back to it. But
Okay, we'll come back to that.
How
yeah.
are you, Sergeant
Oh,
Duck?
I'm doing good. I'm a sergeant now.
yeah, Sergeant Duck, you earned your stripes.
Got the stripes on me like I played for the Bengals. It's a ludicrous line.
This is an animal
stripes like the
filled,
tiger's skin.
intro here.
Yeah, we've hit 4 at least already. By the way, my parents sent really cute pictures of these bunnies in their backyard.
Oh,
Aw.
salute to those bunnies.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Just been busy, twiddling my thumbs as I want to do.
Yeah.
Busy doing
Busy doing nothing.
No, you've been working. You've been working.
more like hardly working.
You have been
Wait,
working.
That's not how you
though.
do the joke. Someone has to say working hard.
Working
And then
hard?
you go
Yeah.
more like whatever.
Do you want some coffee with your sugar?
I want some coffee with my sugar, and I want some fruit with my punch. I don't know.
That's
Listen,
nice.
let's
I'm gonna
get
go
to the
back to the
shits.
punch.
Back to the punch.
Let's get to it. Anything
I'm
else in store?
No, absolutely not.
Let's do it. All right. We're wrapping up the Western Conference Finals.
Oh boy.
The Minnesota Timberwolves took on the Dallas Mavericks. Who will come out on top? Oh, it turns out it was just the Mavericks. They won 5 games. The Wolves' last team to get eliminated. And yeah, any thoughts on that series? I mean, we went through the first 3 games for the most part.
Go ahead.
Any thoughts on the last? We went through the first 4.
Yeah, we did go
Technically,
through
I
the
forgot
first
about
4.
live.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, while watching that first half, I had to say, I was thinking to myself, that's the worst bludgeoning I've watched since the Mavs beat the Suns.
Yeah.
Like, it was the stakes, it was weird because the stakes weren't quite as high. It's not a game 7.
Yeah, it really wasn't.
And the Suns were the number 1 seed that year. But I just thought the way Minnesota approached that game was horrific.
Yeah.
In a lot of energy categories that, I mean, I know that they sort of ran into a wall offensively. I mean, Rudy Gobert had the most shots on the team in the first quarter. Kind of a sign that things were not going well.
Yeah.
But I just thought there was just an aura of lifelessness to them. That whole first half.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, I turned it off after the first half. I should tell you.
I did too.
I watched it because I thought to myself, there's not going to be any basketball for like a whole week.
Just take what
And
you
I'm
can
like,
get.
oh no, there's not that many games left. I just want to
Finish
watch
it
this
through.
thing through.
There's WNBA games.
There are.
Yeah, that's true.
I watched some WNBA
Me
games
too.
this weekend.
But we won't be talking about that league. I mean, we could. We could talk about the Caitlin Clark.
This bullshit
But we'll-
Caitlyn
um,
Clark controversies.
Let's go back
But-
to, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Minnesota's offense was just a total wreck, right?
Yeah.
I know they were the Mavs did such a good job by the end there of, cramming the middle of the court because they just
Yeah.
clearly, I mean, you're not really afraid of Gobert touching the ball, and Kat was horrific from 3 in this whole series, except for the one little stretch at the end of game 4.
Yeah.
And the court just felt really small.
It really did.
And I felt like that the way that they were trying to attack became super erratic and completely unorganized, which then led to the defense just completely shitting the bed on the other end.
Yeah.
Um,
What was the final score, by the way?
the final score was 124 to 103. Not nearly.
Yeah, as bad as that
yeah.
first half.
I mean, Luka
was.
Garza got in there at the end there and scored 6 points.
Yeah. Shout out Luka
Ooh,
Garza.
shout out Luka.
man.
Luka Garza.
There's not only one Luka cooking that game.
No, yeah.
That's
He
right.
gave him 6 straight points there at the end. Garbage time. It was great.
Garza time,
Um,
more like.
It was a 36-point lead, I think was the highest.
Yeah.
lead.
That sounds right.
Doncic and Irving combined for 72 points
Jesus.
on 28 of 49 shooting, 57%.
And equally too, right? They both had 36, I think.
Yeah, equal 36.
Yeah.
10 of
Really
20 from 3 and combined for 10 assists. I mean, they really didn't need to play the second half
Yeah.
because the lead never dwindled below 20, I don't think.
No.
They played 70. Irving and Doncic played a combined 77 minutes. That's Luka Doncic's number.
Oh.
So, yeah, I don't know. The TNT guys, I think it was Shaq and Barkley,
Mhm.
were saying that the T-Wolves came in just satisfied that they didn't get swept. That's kind of what I felt like. That's kind of what it felt like.
I can
What'd
see
you guys
that.
think?
Yeah, I agree with that. What do you think?
That
Private.
yeah, that was a take I was also agreeing with.
Yeah.
I think Ant said, we're just trying not to get swept. And that's what they always say when they're down 3-0 or 3-1, like, we just want to win one game, right? That's the mentality that you've got to have.
Yeah.
Where was the "don't let us get one" energy?
Right, but that was Boston's thing last year, right?
It's a little different than "I don't want to get swept."
It is different.
It is.
And
yeah.
I just think it comes down to playoff experience and, maybe some issues with this roster with Cat underperforming and stuff. But they've never been this far before. They're led by 22-year-old Ant. He's finding out what it means to be here and now. And at a certain point, you just get overwhelmed by a better team, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Are the Mavs a better team, Danny? Through and through? This is the team that beat that did beat the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah. We're talking about a team that beat the defending champs.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, Luka and Kyrie being so good, and just I don't know if the Mavs are just a better team per se.
Maybe they have the two better guys, or the two guys who are closer to their primes.
Yeah, they're like in a good. They set themselves up in a good spot for a 7-game series.
Yeah,
and the Mavs just didn't after those first couple games.
Yeah,
I mean, the Mavs, the T-Wolves.
I felt like. Okay, here's a better question because I think the Mavs are better. They proved that they're better.
They're better.
But, should this series have gone 7? I kind of feel like it should have gone more games.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying about playoff. That's one reason I think about playoff experience is because 2 or 3 of those games felt very winnable for the Timberwolves.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
They were up 5 with like 3 minutes to go a couple times. And it just was like, all right, you do your defensive thing. Kyrie misses 2 free throws, you're good. And then they weren't.
Yeah. They weren't. Well, the Mavs, it was similar to the Celtics-Pacers series, just a younger group out there. Yeah, they did well in the playoffs up to that point, but they just couldn't just run away with it.
Get over the hump there.
Much more experienced playoff teams. And the Celtics and the Mavericks were just in the game in the last 4 minutes in the fourth quarter, and you can't have them be in that game.
Exactly.
Because they were going to figure out a way to win it.
And I think we'll come back to this later, but I think that, for so much of the NBA discourse, people like to say, oh, the playoffs, it's all about the matchups. But then when the talking heads are out there on ESPN, they are always talking about, the best player, or they're comparing teams in that kind of terms of just talent.
Yeah.
And this is a series, I think, that definitely came down to the matchups.
Yeah.
When you think about how McDaniels, right, just too skinny to guard Luka at any turn. They made that switch where McDaniels, they put him on Irving too late. It's coaching and experience too. I mean, we know J. Kidd was on the firing block this last summer, but this is his 3rd stop as a head coach. And they went to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago.
Yep.
And you can't have Ant running around guarding Irving the whole time. So it's just really tough. And I think, we went over this before, but all the Gobert backlash, where he really hurt them was on the offensive end, because you just have a non-entity of an offensive player out there who, if you're funneling your offense through him, the other team's just happy.
Yeah. And then you get a cat drive into super clogged paint.
Exactly.
And it's maybe, half the time maybe it'll work, but it's not sustainable.
Danny, how would you rate Cat's performance in this series?
In this series, he had that one good game offensively in game 4, and then fouled out the last 4 minutes.
Yeah. But maybe his best game ever.
Yeah, it was one of his better games.
It was the most
It was really good.
typical Cat game ever.
Yeah, fouling out in 29 minutes, but leaving with 25.
But yeah, if you're
Or
gonna,
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
so what would you give it out of?
3. I'll give it a 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10.
Yeah,
For this series.
yeah, for this series. Yeah, maybe a little generous.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was pretty pitiful out there.
Pretty rough.
I mean, it just, that's the big thing about that first half. It was, where was you just got punched in the mouth. We know, like, Luka just hit a couple step back threes. Where was the punch back? Whereas it felt like in the Denver series, even when they were down 20,
they were punching back.
We all thought they were cooked.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, previously in the series, they had a recipe that they knew worked.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in the coaching, in the coaching circle, as guys were down 20, you can kind of be like, look, we've kicked these guys' ass. We know how to do it. We just got to go do it. Whereas this series, they could never really find anything sustainable that worked for a whole game. It just, after they blew that 18-point lead in game 2, it was just, it just felt like a struggle the whole way.
Yeah.
So Cat is a big reason for that, because sometimes when you're in those ruts, you need your 2 best players to just ball
Take
out.
over, yeah.
And Ant is getting, he's seeing just a whole wall there in the middle of the court. It was really hard for him to get to places, and it took a lot of energy. You need your second guy to be a threat. And I just felt like too many times Dallas was just super happy with him doing anything, and felt like they could defend him well.
Yeah, there were a lot of times, like in that last game, even when he would take a 3, and I'd be like, I know he's a good shooter, but I don't know if that didn't feel...
I mean, if he's going to be a good shooter, excuse me, he's got to make those shots.
Yeah.
If you say, I'm the best shooting big man of all time, then make your shots, make your threes in the big moments. But he's just too erratic at this point in time
He really is.
to be, I don't know.
To be a...
We'll see. It's
What
not
are we
like
gonna
he's
say?
it's not like he's young per se.
No.
He's 28 years old. Like he's
Yeah.
older than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at this point.
Yeah, he's older than Luka.
He's older than Luka.
Yeah, what was it? 2014 draft? Number 1 pick?
I can look it up.
15 draft. It was the KP draft and D'Angelo.
2015.
Yeah,
First overall pick.
first overall. Jalen Okafor. Was that his name?
We had in that draft Cat, followed by Russell, Jaleel Okafor,
Okafor was
Kristaps,
We booed him.
and
when we
don't forget-
drafted Kristaps.
LeBron stopper Mario Hezonja.
His own another Balkan,
yeah.
another
I can't
Balkan
forget.
fellow.
I remember everyone wanted
Um,
Justin Winslow that draft.
So,
Justice Winslow?
Yeah, you remember him?
Vaguely.
He was on the Heat right before Butler came.
Ah.
should the Wolves just run this back? Is that what they should do?
Trade him.
Who, Cat?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He's going to make
mean-
like $1 bazillion next year.
I think you just have to run it back. I don't think there's much you could do.
I mean, this record-wise was...
No, it was a great year
Yeah.
for them, and it's definitely something I think they could expand on, but why not try to make the team better and a little bit cheaper?
For sure. I don't know. I feel like they're
I don't
always
know,
going
man.
for cheaper, though.
Yeah, this is like the best team they've had in 20 years.
20 years.
You want them
They
to
haven't won a
trade their
playoff
second
series in
best
20
player.
years.
Who are they getting back for Cat? They're not getting
Trey-
back another star.
Trae Young.
No, they're not getting back another star. Maybe,
Can I-
but you want Trey Young next to Ant? I hate that fit more.
Can we get sad and I can read my memoriam because this kind of ties in.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's get
Let's
sad.
get sad. Danny, give us a tear.
Who would kill
All
this
right.
poor wolf?
Who
would do such a thing?
Turns out it was a horse.
All right. In 0304, In 03-04, KG led a squad featuring Sam Cassell and Latrell Sprewell to the conference finals, losing in 6 to the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, who would then lose to the Pistons. The following season, they saw their coach Flip Saunders fired after a 25-26 start, and they missed the playoffs after finishing 44-38. The following season, Sprewell didn't resign. Sam Cassell and a top 10 protected first-round draft pick were traded to the Clippers for Marco Yarick and Lionel Chalmers.
Who?
I don't know. The pick became unprotected in 2012 after not conveying because the T-Wolves frankly sucked ass for so many years,
Yep.
and was used to draft Austin Rivers, who was a part of the package that brought CP3 to Clipperland. Interesting. The Wolves would miss the playoffs for 20 straight seasons. This team, this Cat and Ant team and Gobert team is primed to be different. That's kind of how we all feel, I feel. Ant is a budding super duper star, and he's only 22. KG was in the middle of his prime in 04, and there's more talent on this roster. But things are about to get sticky. A-Rod and Mark Lore still want the team, and Glenn Taylor apparently does too.
They're fighting.
Arbitration, it is. Tim Connolly, president of B-Ball Ops, the man who built the team that beat the Nuggets and built the Nuggets, can opt out of his contract this offseason. And he was handpicked by A-Rod and Lore to run this team. He could gain interest from other team. Either way, a big, expensive contract extension is likely coming. Taylor is a known cheapskate and one of the worst owners in the league. It's been proven over the last 20 years. Towns is 28, and his 4-year, $224 million extension kicks in this offseason, giving the team 3 expensive big men. They're a first apron team, and it's highly likely there'll be a second apron team come next season. Is this organization gonna be cool with that? It'd be fun if this team stays together, but there's a real possibility we might be seeing the end of the best T-Wolves team ever assembled, the way the previous one ended. Not on the court, but off of it. I, for one, am hoping for the great state of Minnesota for something better this time around.
Very good. Well, yeah, I didn't know about all that.
Yeah, big
Off the
ownership
court
drama.
stuff.
There's 3 people basically playing tug of war with the team.
I knew
So that's the
Oh,
big
what
question
didn't you know?
for this team this offseason is this organization going to just kind of crumble again? I think that
Possibly.
because I think you pay and you do this for one more year.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work,
Then you do. Yeah,
The problem is-
that's how I'm feeling.
Cat might already be untradeable with
Yeah.
that contract.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
Unless-
possible.
Unless you're trading him for
For a
just
salary
like
dump and
50% on the
The
down
dollar.
on the dollar
Yeah.
there.
Dorian picks.
So
Wait,
you're
do they have picks?
not really.
Really?
Can I ask what is meant by salary dump?
You're just trying to shed money.
Yeah, you
And
just get rid of a
sometimes-
player for essentially no
Real asset.
real asset.
You get a low return. So the other team gets him for little
Yeah.
yeah.
in return for taking on
Yeah.
his big
And
salary.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes in like modern NBA, you attach picks to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's the big question around this team. It makes
Yeah,
me really
pretty big.
nervous because I would try to run this back. You know, one
Yeah.
more year of Ant. They ran into the wrong team. I know they might not maybe they don't beat the Nuggets again next year or whatever, but Nuggets are also at a very tricky
Crossroads.
financial place.
Yeah.
So I feel like you just got to try to give it another year. I think working around the edges would be the best. They probably need more than just Mike Conley. If Mike Conley could come off the bench for them, that'd be great. But
Yeah.
there's still some young, Neil Alexander Walker, like he can still improve on this
Mhm.
team.
Yeah.
So
Would you consider a Kyle Anderson trade?
I feel like is he a
it's
free
okay.
agent?
Oh,
That's okay.
is he?
I wouldn't. He might be a free agent.
Might
Yeah.
be.
They need some shooting. I mean, McDaniels can get better for sure.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna have to try to, you got to work around the edges. Maybe if
Yeah.
you can get some kind of minimum guy who can come in and be a point guard off the bench, who's a more reliable shooter than they have. Maybe Nas improves. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't.
Gobert starts
there's-
chucking threes.
It's not going to be a ton of options out there for them, but I think this team was closer than this 5-game series indicates.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I agree with that.
Do you think also beating the defending champs, you come off that feeling super confident?
Absolutely. For a young team, they
Yeah.
probably felt like this is going to be easier
Right.
when it's just not. And those are the growing pains that you have to go through. And this is why I think a majority of people, besides just the compensation, were against the Rudy Gobert trade is that you're speeding up this timeline for a guy who is so young in Ant Edwards. So young, so talented. But you don't
Yeah.
win championships when your best player is 25, nevertheless 24 or 23,
Mm-hmm.
So that's the tricky that's the tricky part about that equation. But, at this point you can't do anything about it. So I think I heard there could be some cap relief coming when Gobert's deals end if he signs a cheaper deal, but he might just kind of be washed at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll still be a big guy back there, but
He's not going to get better.
No. So I don't know. I think they were closer than this series. I'll go back to that point. They were closer than this series was indicative of. So I would just give it a shot. I think you should be patient.
Yeah.
I would just try this for another year before you make any drastic changes. This team wasn't even supposed to be that good this year.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it worked. Whatever they did for a while.
All right. Should we move on? Goodbye, Wolves.
You got anything left to say to the
Ben,
Wolves,
you got any last words for the Wolves?
Just a howl of despair.
There you go. Private Ben.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Play it taps. Tap them out.
The No Shots podcast is brought to you by Dank Delish Coffee. Whether you need a jolt on the way to the office or in relax mode in the afternoon, Dank Delish Coffee is the only quality bag of Colombian home roasted beans that hits the spot just right. Roasted locally in Queens, New York, you can find Dank Delish Coffee beans at dankdelish.com and have their deliciousness shipped right to your lovely abode. Start your morning with a cup of Delish. Why not?
Moving on to the NBA Finals.
Woo!
We got the Boston Celtics, Chuck's homegrown Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks, the Cowboys out west. That's a horse noise, not Scooby Doo for those.
Yeah, I don't know. That just went there. That's my neural network right there.
They are similar. They are similar. Yeah, it's a little better.
Better?
A little better.
Okay.
Reggie. Yeah. What you got for us, Chuck? You got some questions or some list of topics? Okay. Oh wait. Can I paint a picture of my? I already told you guys this in the park the other day,
Go for it.
but
Take it away, Kandinsky.
the year is 2018. Kristaps Porzingis is disgruntled with the Knicks organization and front office about how they're handling his injury and his recovery. might want to trade. Oh, wait. He's already traded to the Dallas Mavericks for DeAndre Jordan, Dennis Smith Jr. Who cares? They also sent Tim Hardaway Jr.
He's actually
Trey
still
Burke.
on the Mavs.
Still on the Mavs.
He's there.
Yeah, a couple first, whatever. One's finally gonna convey.
Has
Last
he
one.
been playing these playoffs?
Yeah, he played a little bit.
He was
Point
benched
is-
in the last.
2018. I see what the Mavs are going for. Second year Luka. Or this is 2019. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait. Was this his rookie year? They trade for him.
Who?
No, I don't think.
It might have been his rookie year. He was just out for that year. It might have been 2018. The Kristaps trade. Anyways, check
It wasn't
that out.
in his rookie year.
Luka's rookie year.
Oh, Luka's rookie year. No, I think it was the second year.
It was the second
Second year, too.
Okay. Anyways, saw the direction where the Mavs are heading. You know, it was a new young league. There was a lot of exciting young cores at the time. 76ers, the Boston Celtics, the Nuggets. Who else we got in there? Who was a fun young core at the time?
I don't even know.
Who knows? Anyways, point is,
The Nets.
I predicted. Yeah, the Nuts. Sure, why not? Not really. No.
Was
Dinwiddie.
I predicted that I already had a Nuggets prediction lined up that the Nuggets and Jokic will win the finals and finals MVP. I decided to add to that prediction at that point, say the Dallas Mavericks and Luka will win the finals and finals MVP. But not only there, I also said the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum will win the finals and finals MVP. Now, technically, Jaylen Brown could ruin this prediction for me. Yeah, it's quite possible. Or Kyrie. You gotta give credit to where credit's due. But I already got the Nuggets right. And now I am guaranteed to get either the Mavericks or Celtics right this year. 6 years later, or 5 years later, whatever it is. It's looking, you know, no matter who wins, I'm the real winner for this finals.
all right.
Or for this prediction from 5 years ago.
Oh, to piggyback on that, Dallas traded Porzingis' ass a couple years later to the Wizards.
The Wizards.
It's essentially just a salary dump, Ben.
That was a
Salary dump.
Got it.
They just wanted him off the team. They
And
got
then-
Bertans.
and Dimwee.
Yeah.
No picks.
So we've got a little revenge game there.
Oh, do we now?
But Porzingis said this today, I think.
Oh.
I'm happy for everybody in Dallas. A lot of good relationships there, and I think they deserve to have the success they've had this season.
I love it.
Media trained.
Very well spoken, KP, as always.
No, that's fine and respectable.
Yeah.
And 2019, Danny, you mentioned,
Yes.
right?
It was 19? Yeah, I
Yep.
kept saying 18.
Because that was the last year that I believe it's the last year that Kyrie was on the Celtics.
Yes, it was.
Before,
Interesting.
A pivotal year.
yeah, which is a year prior, where he was traded to Boston for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and
Zizic.
a Brooklyn pick. Funny enough,
That ended
2018.
up being, Ben, you
Um,
know who the Brooklyn pick ended up being?
Nope.
Your boy, Colin Sexton.
Colin
Oh, I
Sexton.
never would have gotten that.
So we've got the Porzingis angle, and we've also got the Kyrie angle here.
Bit of a revenge tour for these two teams
Little
and two
revenge
players.
tour.
Potentially.
This is what Kyrie said about playing Boston.
Yeah.
Last time in Boston, I don't think that was the best. That was he was middle fingering the crowd
Yeah.
on an out of bounds play. Not this regular season, but when the Nets played in the playoffs, and everyone saw me flip off the birds and kind of lose my shit a little bit. That wasn't a great reflection of who I am and how I like to compete on a high level. Now, the angst, which is not even from the Boston players at all, they all like Kyrie.
No, it's the fans.
It's the fans.
And I will say, I think
Yeah.
Kyrie has seemed a lot more even-keeled. He genuinely looks happy at the end of these playoff games. So whatever's going on in Dallas seems to be working out for him, emotional-wise.
Yeah, well, it's fun that he's kind of just doing what we all love from him, which is that he's an awesome basketball player, and he's one of the most fun players to watch on the court.
Yes.
To play.
Absolutely.
Like, the creativity is absurd. And when we're not... First of all, okay, there's two things. One, he's kind of... Because for a long time, it's of course, you've got all the kind of crazy things that he said, but he's also... I mean, he's very involved in a lot of charities, does, like, a lot of good community work. It's kind of sad to see his, like, public reputation be punished for these other things that he, was posting.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of thing. And the other thing is he just wasn't playing basketball games. Like, missing so much. He missed the COVID.
Oh, the COVID shit. I forgot about the COVID shit.
So it's nice to just have him on the court
doing
what he does best.
Yeah.
Him and Rudy were probably the two most problematic COVID stars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
Jonathan Isaac.
What? Jonathan Isaac?
But there was a article on NBC Sports Boston that I think came out yesterday that had Kyrie Irving as the #1 Boston villain of, like, all time. I just can't.
I don't know about that.
I can't disagree more.
Yeah.
I could not disagree more.
Of all time.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It doesn't have to be a person who played in Boston, right?
No,
Just
it's
any
someone who
villain.
played against Boston.
Yeah.
Boston, yeah.
I think it's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can look. I mean, if we're just talking about basketball, I think LeBron is higher. For those late 2010, early 2010 series.
Yeah, basketball-wise, Kyrie's never really
Magic
done
Johnson.
anything to y'all.
Besides, say, I'm going to
In a game, like, in terms of
he said, I want to re-sign here and I want to have my number in the rafters at a fan event.
And then 2 months later, he said, I don't owe anybody shit.
Yeah. And he totally ruined the 19 team.
Yeah, he kind of did.
It was, I mean, there was a...
It was a lot.
It was a lot. It wasn't just him.
But he was
as
good
the experienced member of the team. Like, he was a bad leader that year.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, I mean, they've made up now, but him and Jalen hated each other at that point in time. But if you listen to the Celtics talk about it, they spin it as a huge positive because that year taught them exactly what a dysfunctional team is. And now they know, I feel like, and it blends into this year, I think, a lot because, I at some point, I think this is kind of silly and cliche, but they had a meeting at the beginning of the year, the 6 guys on the Celtics who were vying for starting role, Al, Kristaps, Drew, Derek, White, Jalen, and Jason, and they had to talk about who comes off the bench. But I think it's kind of silly. I think it was kind of obvious. But it was gonna be. I think they've talked all year in press conferences about sacrifice and how this is the thing that can get them over the top.
Yeah.
And I think that's a thing that they definitely learned from, I mean, of course, you learn more along the way, but I think that initial, learning of that started in 2019 with that completely dysfunctional team.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
So
sometimes you gotta take a step back to take a leap forward.
if the Celtics were bad after the Kyrie thing happened, I think this would be a different story.
Huge.
But
yeah.
we swept them in a playoff series when he went to the Nets, and then he had to, flounder around and finally find the right team. I think if we're talking about a breakup, up to this point, the Celtics have won the breakup. If we're gonna put it that way, they're a better team without him on it.
Oh, they've definitely
they've
won the breakup, I'd say.
So
Although now Kyrie's in the finals. So.
yeah, the fans are gonna get So he could take a step to become, I think, a villain. But at this point, I know the fans are gonna give him hell. But I personally, after the sweep of the Nets, I've kind of lost all.
You've cooled off.
Yeah, completely cool. That was it for me, and I've enjoyed him. I've been rooting for the Mavs for most of these playoffs. So
interesting. Sounds like you were rooting for your eventual downfall.
Maybe. You're always rooting for your downfall. You have to root for one of the teams.
Eventually.
It's true.
So, all right, what did we start with? The stakes. Oh yeah, the
pressure, the stakes.
The stakes. Which team you want to start with these stakes?
Let's go with the Mavericks.
You want to start with the Mavs?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's at stake?
What's at stake? Well, let's start. Here's just a little tidbit here. The Mavs finished 50-32 for the regular season. That's a 61% winning percentage. Here's a little trivia question for you. If they were to win the finals, they would have the worst regular season winning percentage since what team? What do you think, y'all?
I literally read this earlier today, but I don't remember. It was a while ago.
Take a guess. Take a guess.
The Mavericks?
The Mavericks have 11?
Yeah, the 11 Mavericks.
You're picking the 11 Mavericks.
Great guess.
What about you, Danny? What do you think?
Who's won recently? I'm going to say, were the Raptors that good in the 2019?
All right. Y'all are both wrong.
Yeah.
It would be the 1994-95 Houston Rockets.
I was going to say that.
They were 47-35. They entered the playoffs as the 6th seed.
Wow.
Interesting enough, another team that made a mid-season trade that changed their season. On February 14th, 1995, the Rockets traded Otis Thorpe to the Portland Trailblazers in exchange for
Kenny Smith?
Clyde Drexler. And three-point specialist Tracy Murray. They swept the Orlando Magic. So that's a kind of a little interesting corollary because the Mavs were super awesome down the stretch and they were fighting for a play-in in the middle of the season there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this would kind of be a historic victory here. What would that say about the Mavs, Ben? What do you think?
Well, and I'm not the first person to say this take, but I do feel like there's not that much pressure on them because of these circumstances where, the record, as you said, not that great. I don't feel like they were a team people were saying, they're going to go to the finals, despite how amazing they were since like February-ish. Playing with house money, as they say. If they lose this finals, no one is going, unless they get swept in really embarrassing fashion, which I definitely don't think is going to happen. If they lose, I don't think anyone's going to say, they tear it down and rebuild. No, like you're going to, I would look to, put it all back together, run it back again next year. And I think you have a great shot.
Yeah,
with
you
this
still
team.
got two. We didn't even see their second rookie, their second first round pick. What is his name? Like Omar something? Omax. Prosper.
Lively's a rookie.
Lively is a rookie.
He looks so professional and good out there.
Yeah.
I saw a take on Twitter that Derek Lively is. They said Derek Lively is what Rob Williams would be without all the injuries. I
Yeah.
kind of
So?
liked it. I kind of like the comp.
Oh man, I gotta have to.
I think
look more
Rob is a
closely.
little better of a defender, but they're both good passers.
Mm.
And Lively's taller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's got that Derek White hair too.
Yeah.
That's always that means that guy's a good
Danny,
basketball player.
what would it
It means
mean
something.
for Luka Doncic to win this title?
To win this title,
Yeah.
to come from Slovenia, become the face of the NBA. I mean a lot. What do you mean? Like, mean for him as a person or like his legacy?
Legacy.
Oh, it'd be huge for his legacy.
His Lucacy.
legacy. Yeah, I mean, you gotta cement them with all the other one title greats.
One title.
Do you think he'd be a one title great
Well, for now,
for now
For now.
with Jokic and Giannis?
Yeah.
Dirk.
He's on that level.
Van
That's
Fleet.
the kind of crazy thing. Is you start winning one title and you're in these franchise greats.
Yeah, in
Luka-
these conversations.
Luka's right up there with Dirk. Although if he wins the title, don't you think he probably just and the Mavs have a decent season next season? Don't you think he just wins the MVP automatically?
Kind of.
Kind
Yeah.
of like Jokic this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, like
Yeah. Like,
we
oh.
forgot how good this guy was. We need to give him an MVP, like
Yeah.
a retroactive.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get that retroactive MVP at some point.
Right.
Yeah, he'll get it at some point. Ben, what do you think it means for Luka? Is he gonna if he wins this title? Is he the best player in the world?
He might be. I mean, he just he wants it, man. I don't know. He's feisty out there, and I know I talk about Luka, and I have mixed feelings toward him. He's just one of those players, but he was clearly the best player left in the conference finals.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching him play. He seems like the best player in the world right now.
Yeah.
Jokic is Jokic. They're probably on a similar level in terms of basketball smarts and acuity and ability. But whoever holds the belt, man.
Yeah,
Come take
you
it.
got a point. You got a point.
I couldn't agree more.
By the
I
way,
think-
it's taking all of me to. Never mind.
Go ahead. Say what you want to say,
say what
Danny.
you want to say.
You know I'm gonna shit on you, right, Ben?
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm ready for it.
I'd rather have Ant than Luca.
I still would rather have Ant than Luka.
They're just talking more like, for vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that a
which I
vibe?
get.
It's
vibe
partially a vibe thing. I'd rather
a
hang
vibe
out with
thing.
Ant
Yeah.
and joke with him.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
he's only 22. I think he's gonna. Anyway, go ahead.
well, Luka's only 25, so that'd be a pretty historic
Oh yeah.
championship.
And I
Like-
I honestly don't think he's gonna win it this year. Maybe.
Oh,
you
get to it.
save
I know
that.
we're
You
save
saving
that.
our predictions.
All right.
All right.
Always a little overzealous.
Let's take a little trip to the past here.
Trip down
Four
memory lane.
teams passed on Luka Doncic.
Yeah, can you name them, Ben?
No,
Just love
I
playing
cannot.
All right.
on the trivia
The
spot.
Timberwolves.
No.
No.
The Suns drafted DeAndre Ayton number 1,
Was this
Yep.
the? What's? Go ahead.
and we've got the Grizzlies got Jaren Jackson Jr. So that's not bad. The Hawks
No, that
traded
was,
out of the 3 spot to go 2 spots down.
Hold on. It was the Kings had second pick for
Yeah,
Marvin Bagley.
Marvin Bagley.
Mhm.
But the Hawks.
So, actually, well, I guess maybe Jaren Jackson's not because Dallas
Yeah.
traded up to the 3rd
Up
spot.
to 3, yeah.
But you
The
got
three
those
teams.
two. But the Hawks could have had Doncic,
Yeah,
and
the
they
Hawks
chose Trae Young.
did. Yeah. Still hasn't come to Dykeman yet, by the way.
He's scared. He's scared to come to Dykeman.
It's pretty gross. I'm sorry, Grizzlies. You weren't in that. I put you in it,
Yeah.
and you weren't. So I
I mean,
apologize.
technically, they could have traded up with the Hawks.
They could have.
Would you
Yeah.
rather have Triple J or Trey?
I'd probably have Triple J.
Depends what kind of
Interesting,
team I have.
interesting.
The Hawks didn't really
Well-
have too much at the time. The Grizzlies
Yeah.
got lucky with the Ja pick next year. But Trey's gonna put asses in seats, and when you're a small market team, that matters.
Yeah.
So true.
But I mean, I think JJJ is he's just a more impactful player
Yeah.
defensively. The
But he's gotta
problem,
have a team around him,
can he be healthy? That's
and
the
that's
big
another
issue.
thing too.
And he's a terrible rebounder, but he is a good defender.
Yeah.
So there's that foreign reign supreme. If we were all worried about, well, all the Americans were worried about. Oh, it's the foreign takeover, right?
The British
At least
invasion,
the players,
or the Balkan
the American
invasion.
players.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if Doncic wins, that's 3 out of the last 4 titles from foreign lands.
Foreign players.
Yep.
Doncic, Jokic, Giannis.
Yep.
All
You even
right.
got Murray in there.
Plus, one of them came from Canada.
Yeah.
Canada.
Canada.
That whole team was in
Yeah,
Canada.
that's right.
That's a foreign title.
What does this do for Kyrie if he wins this chip?
Oh, this is a great legacy chip for Kyrie because he's in the. You immediately have to put him in. I was about to walk
Say
back, but
it.
I'm gonna say it. But I'm
Say
gonna
it.
say it. I saw a clip that if he wins, someone was saying he's a top 5 point guard all time, and someone, I think it was a Jeff Teague podcast, and Teague was like, "I got him in my top 5 already." But Teague's a Kyrie guy, but I don't know. You got
He's not even the best point guard on his team.
true technically, but
No, come on. All right, we got Magic Johnson.
we got Magic,
We got Steph.
we got Steph,
Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah, Zeke, yeah,
Yep, Zeke. He does weirdly.
Stockton. Then it
Stop.
starts.
No,
then you
no,
start
no.
going to a bunch of guys who
Yeah.
haven't won.
Yeah, you
You
got
go
Nash,
Stockton,
Kuzi.
Nash,
Kid. I mean, it
Chris
might be
Paul.
better these guys, but like we kind of talked about on the last pod, he is
It's interesting.
more of a
Oh.
shooting guard.
More of a shooting
Yeah.
guard.
And then when
It's
he
true.
has won
True.
titles, he's played more of a shooting guard.
type role.
And
Yeah.
he's never won
And a
a
point
title
guard
as
by
the number one
the guy.
Yeah.
But I
True.
do think like
but he would have two
here's
of
the
them
interesting
things.
here's the interesting take. Like, okay, when I think about somebody like Chris Paul historically, because
Yeah.
John Stockton's not an MVP caliber
like caliber player. Yeah.
but Chris Paul is.
yeah.
And he's
Mhm.
led a team to the finals. And I think you would look back here and just say, I'll just say guard. I think even with Kyrie's one chip, I think Chris Paul is a better player than Kyrie. But if Kyrie can do this 2 times as the second banana, it's almost like you'd rather have him on your team because the way, even though CP3 can run a team better, his
Yeah.
teams always
Falter.
fall apart
Yeah.
or fall short at the end. Some of that's not his fault, but I think if we're looking at this era of basketball, it might be crazy to say, but you might want Kyrie as your. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
he might be better.
He might be better because like all these guys we just named, Stockton, Kidd, Nash, Chris Paul,
Yeah.
all great floor generals. Led
Yeah.
great teams. To
Mhm.
finals or close to it, right?
Yeah, but he can't
They
be
don't
above.
got those rings, man.
Yeah, there's no way he's better than Zeke, Steph,
Yeah,
or
no, I'll give you
or
that.
Magic.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But there's a debate for that 5 spot, that 4 or 5 spot. Could be
Yeah.
a debate.
It's hard to win when you're a lead guard,
Yeah.
and he's never been the lead guard on a
No,
championship team.
he hasn't.
So I
will
don't know. It's also
Interesting though.
Oh, it also is overlooking, and I think Kyrie gets the benefit of the doubt because he's such an amazing watch.
Yeah,
Mm.
I agree.
That if we look from the time he landed in Boston to this Dallas year, it was a train wreck.
It's more bad than good.
It's a train wreck.
More bad than good. He
So
had that
I-
great first year with the Nets and then got hurt.
I
Yeah.
think we're
And then the
overreacting.
COVID stuff.
Yeah, I think
Then the drama. Then Nets drama. They want to get traded. Then he goes to Dallas. Guess what? They suck. When
Yep.
he first goes to Dallas, they're so bad that they start tanking to get their pick back from the Knicks.
Yeah.
In the effort to
But-
create P trade. But yeah.
but I think so. And just the missed games, like he just didn't
A lot of missed
play
games,
basketball games. But I think with a win, this whole good guy act that he's got going now is essentially put in stone.
Yeah.
And it overcomes all that.
Yeah.
For sure. If he loses, he might still. It might,
He
if
still
this is
might
who
overcome
he
a little
is,
bit.
this is who he is.
Yeah.
But we never know with him.
Okay, how about this? How about if last thing on Kyrie winning a second championship, that potential? How about if he wins and gets Finals MVP?
Ooh,
Ooh.
that's
Now
big.
That would be big.
That would be huge.
That would be huge.
That would be big.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, now according to my prediction,
then.
5 years.
Okay, no predictions.
No predictions. We'll save that for the end.
I will say, for Kyrie to
Yeah.
have the most success out of the fallout of the Brooklyn Big Three, not what I would have expected.
And Harden to have the
So
second
far.
most
Yes.
success.
True, KG is kind of the biggest loser here.
Technically, yeah.
He is right
Best
now.
player, biggest loser.
Right now. Right
Yeah,
now.
for now.
Yeah,
Until
for
the
now,
Suns win
for
next
sure.
year.
I mean, yeah. Is that in your 5-year plan?
No. No. The Suns
Yeah.
were also in that young core back then.
Yeah, that's
With
true.
Booker and a
Yeah.
few other guys.
Yeah,
Of course
and
they
Chris
had-
Paul.
All right.
They had Warren and Oubre or some shit.
Also, him winning this it puts the stamp on him as, like I said earlier, the villain of Boston.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
kind
it
of
really
lost.
does.
I think he's lost some of it, but if he terrorizes Boston in this series, then
Well, that's a different story.
we're, then the breakup. It's like a couple years later, you realize that
Your ex
breakup.
is dating
Oh
a,
shit!
a
Yeah,
model.
yeah.
And they're like they're like a millionaire.
Yeah.
All right.
They get a job that you were trying to get.
All right. With that, let's move on to the C's, the Celtics,
The
of
Celtics.
Boston.
Bastin.
All right. I just simply wrote, if they can't win this year, are they really ever going to win?
Great question.
Mhm.
It's a great question.
Well, here's where all
Not
the
according to
pressure
my
lies.
prediction
Yeah, it is.
Not according to Danny's
from
prediction.
5 years ago.
This is the team. The media is relentless on this team, and I'm not a Celtics fan either, but I feel a little bad for them.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know. These poor young guys have to hear it every year from every angle, fans and non-fans. They're soft. They can't beat Miami. They can't beat Milwaukee. Whatever M team pops in there.
Well, this is what they signed up for, though. This is why these young players compete.
Yeah,
I don't think it's what
guess.
they signed up for.
No,
I
no.
think they definitely lack any semblance of credit for anything they've done.
Right.
It's six.
That is true.
I know, and everyone likes to throw around this 6 of 8 Eastern Conference Finals, and they haven't won one yet.
Yeah.
It's really not 6 of 8. First of all, the first one was that Isaiah Thomas team,
Yeah.
and they got crushed.
yeah.
The second one was Tatum's rookie year,
Rookie
which
year.
it was
Jalen Brown's breakout year.
even if they
Scary Terry.
even if they get to I know it went 7 against the Cavs, but that was not a good Cavs team.
Yeah.
And if they go to the finals, they
They get
just
crushed.
crush. They get crushed. So
Yeah.
I'm just throwing those two out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I could agree with that.
It's really 4 out of 5. It starts with the bubble. The
Yeah.
bubble series.
That's
That's
the series.
that's and Tatum is like what, 22?
that was the start of this
Yeah.
iteration
That's the start.
Era.
It's
Yeah.
4 out of 5, which
of
is
the Tatum
still
and Brown led Celtics.
which is still a lot for not coming up. But when you look at the ages of the players in those scenarios, it's a pretty impressive resume. And these guys need to top this off to get any level of respect. And then
Yeah.
they still might not get respect from certain media outlets because no one else in the East decided to show up.
Yeah.
This
That's-
year?
That is a
Yeah.
narrative.
Well, that is a point, that this was one of the easiest runs to the finals in recent history.
Yeah. But it also just you realize that this team has, and I
do think they deserve credit. I'm totally I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But there are some historical things, like you guys know that this team has the 4th best net rating of all time.
This year.
This
Crazy.
year, it's the 96 Bulls, the 97 Bulls, and the 16-17 Warriors, and then this year's Celtics.
In
That is
now,
crazy.
I'm not
that's
even
the playoffs
They are not what?
in the regular
season?
season or playoffs.
That's the regular season.
Yeah,
And the
wow.
playoffs, their net rating is, I think, historical too. I don't have the
Yeah.
numbers on that one.
That is
And
pretty
I'm not
crazy.
even. I don't think they're anywhere in that stratosphere whatsoever.
Yeah.
But they should get some kind of recognition for this if they can follow through. I'm not sure they will.
Yeah.
It'll be like getting a small little monkey off the back.
Little,
A little monkey.
what's those
It's a
little
big
monkeys
monkey.
called?
What?
What's those little monkeys called that they're in the movies?
Cappuccines?
Yeah, little cappuccino.
Yeah.
Little cappuccino off your back.
Just to give you a
Nobody's fault but mine.
here's a little. This is you guys. You know Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a big Celtics hater. at this
Yeah, he
moment.
is.
Old blue eyes.
Here's specifically Tatum. Here's what he said. He said, "The NBA is harder, faster. There's more skill. You can't take defensive possessions off. He's Tatum, not that young. He's 26. So when I hear people defending Jason Tatum, we're not criticizing him. The standards are different. Right now, he's maybe the 5th best forward in Celtics history, which it might be true, but I'm
Might
not
be
sure why
true.
this is a bad thing. He ain't Havlicek. He's not Bird or McHale.
Okay.
And Paul Pierce has double the All-Star appearances.
Of course, he played
Well,
12 more years
and
than
a
him.
ring.
right.
Yeah.
Here's when Pierce was 26, he had 3 All-Star appearances and 2 All-NBA third teams. Tatum already has half the All-Star appearances that Pierce had in his entire career, and same amount of All-NBA teams made, and it's 3 firsts and 1 second team. So if Tatum, it's a ludicrous take because he's
Yeah.
26 years old. There's
Yeah.
so much more to go. If he can win 1 ring, he might. I think he probably will supplant Pierce as a better Celtic all time.
Yeah, I think so.
Because Pierce was, I feel like when you look at that 08 team, it was KG and Pierce were kind of 1A, 1B, and it was kind of a
Yeah.
Here, where KG was kind of the 1A alpha and Pierce was kind of the 1B guy, like KG made everything work.
Yeah.
Without him, the defense doesn't fall into place. The whole toughness thing, the team mentality doesn't fall into place without KG. I think Tatum is the KG of this team, and Brown is more of the Paul Pierce
Pierce.
of this team. I do think they're more like 1A, 1B, which is fine. But Tatum is clearly the best player on this team, despite news outlets saying
Yeah.
otherwise. I don't think Pierce was at this level of best player on team wins chip.
Yeah.
So but I think it puts both of those guys in the rafters. But without it, they're not going up there.
Yeah.
They
I
don't put people who don't have chips up there.
I agree. Does that make Derek White the Ray Allen of this team?
No.
Why
I
not?
think Kristaps is the Ray Allen.
He kind of is, yeah.
Let's see.
Drew's the Rondo.
Yeah, I think it just
Yeah.
in general it puts behind the fact that, I guess I think all of those other things, how great they are, will still be probably questioned after this. But you can't say this team can't win big games anymore. It's impossible to say
Yeah.
if they can win this.
If they can
Yeah.
win this.
If they win this.
If they win
If. Here's some other things. Al Horford, Basketball Hall of Fame, if he wins this.
I like it. He's been in the
Why
league a long
not?
time.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, if it was just his NBA career, he's got no shot. But he's a 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA, 3rd team, 1 All-Defense, 2nd team, but 2-time NCAA champ with Florida Gators back-to-back. It's not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
You
I
got me
think
there.
he's got a shot. I feel like this is kind of for both teams, Mavs. I feel like the front offices of both of these teams will be very rewarded for winning this. And I know you could say that about any front office.
Yeah.
The way that the Mavs put together this team this year, the way they tanked last year, and they made the gamble on Kyrie when no one else would, and they drafted the right guy, Lively.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Gafford trade. They trade for Grant Williams, sign and trade in the offseason, and then they get his ass out of town.
That's the real secret, getting rid of Grant Williams. Get you right in the finals.
Yeah. Do it, Charlotte. Do it. Bring in PJ. Derek Jones Jr. was a minimum signing this offseason, so anyone could have had him.
Yeah.
And then the Celtics have they've made so many gut punch roster moves to get to this point.
Yeah.
Over the last 6 years, even longer. They traded Isaiah Thomas, who was one of the most popular Celtics of the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
People love that guy. They traded Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
They traded Time Lord. Everyone loves Time Lord. They fired Ime. I mean, you had to do it, but still, it's kind of a
big drama there.
crushing move.
Plus sticking with Joe.
And then to think about it, this whole thing as an organization, all this started with the trading KG and Pierce.
Yeah,
Wow.
it did.
They wouldn't have Brown and Tatum right now if they didn't do that. And that's a hard move to make because you look at other rosters, Golden State, who are sticking with their old guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the Celtics said, hey, let's start this thing over. And it's created a sustainable winning organization for the last, they had a couple down years there in the middle, but
barely even. They really didn't even
bottom
bottom out the way we thought we were.
Since 2008, they've been in a playoff team, basically, except for 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. And those years, they weren't at the bottom.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of moves, and they continually try to make this team better. So I just think as an organization, it's a huge referendum on what they've done and tried to do. So, and it's only,
tricky ainge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they do if they don't win this year either. The roster's hit its peak.
What do you think?
You got no more moves left.
You demolished the old crumbling mansion.
KP a free agent.
I almost think you just run it back because what else are you going to do? You're not going to be better than this.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, one chip since Larry Bird hobbled off the court. So, not a modern day powerhouse.
No.
By any means. All right. That's what I got, right? I don't have anything else here. All right, let's get into the thick of it here. What are
Into the thick of it?
What are some weaknesses for these teams? What do you guys think?
I had one thing. Corner threes.
Yeah.
The Mavs have the most in the playoffs, 4.6 per game. And the Celtics lead the playoffs in limiting quarter threes.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, and that's a big part of. Yeah, so that's going to be a real
Big part of the
hustle.
Mavs game. And we know the Celtics love to, shoot threes. They're just going to be punching each other out in the corners. The bench is going to get into it. So, I don't know. What do you think?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be on those rotations, really. Luka's going to... I guess what you're worried about is, one, the doubling or Luka getting into the paint and then the defenses collapse. But, like we said... Celtics really don't like giving up those corner threes because it's the easiest shot to make on the court. It's the shortest three, not the easiest.
Most
shot,
efficient.
Label. Yeah, most efficient three. So that's going to be a little chess match because Luka is one of the best at finding those corner 3-point shooters.
Mm-hmm. Kyrie will take them.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big things that the Mavs will do, though, why they get so many is oftentimes they have Kyrie on the wing. So when you drive to the paint and it creates help, maybe from a corner, right? Then if you kick out, right, you don't want to leave Kyrie on the wing there because he's a better shooter than PJ or Derek Jones Jr. There in the corner. So, if you're going to pick which one's going to shoot, you probably want PJ Washington shooting it over Kyrie Irving, shooting the wide open shot. And so you let them have the corner three. So that's definitely going to be a big thing.
Is Tim Hardaway not like a guy that they like playing anymore?
I don't think so because he's just such a defensive liability.
He's not good defensively. He's not too tall or long for it to be a wing. He's like more of like a 2-guard, like 6'5".
Yeah, because there were days when it felt like he was their third option, kind of offensively.
They've given his minutes to Jaden Hardy.
Yeah,
so we'll see if they do that again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's out there here and there, but.
They might give him a little run at the beginning, see how it goes.
Crunch time, I don't expect.
Don't love him out there. Dallas is shooting 37.7% from three in the playoffs, which is pretty on their regular season average. Celtics are like 2% worse this postseason. And that's probably due to the fact that Tatum is just shooting 29% from three.
Yeah.
So that's one Celtic weakness. I feel like Tatum, in both games, and I get it, it wasn't this Mavs team. In both games against the Mavs this year, he went over 30 points. One was like 39, 10, and something else. So they did have a meeting after the All-Star break, or after the trade deadline. Boston killed them, but that was like the last bad stretch of Mavs ball before they went on their run. Figured it out. After a couple games after that, they made the switch to go to Gafford and Derek Jones Jr. in the starting lineup. So, Danny, can the Celtics defend Luka Doncic at all?
I mean, who's gonna be on them? Tatum, Brown.
That's the question.
I look at this as
combination of Tatum, Brown, Holiday, White.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think that Tatum will probably start out on Lively or Gafford.
Yeah,
because they want to prevent, going into drop and getting those switches on the lobs.
Yeah.
What's a crazy lob stat here for the Mavs this postseason here. Oh, Mavs have 54 total playoff alley-oops in 17 games.
Wow.
54.
Lob City over here in Dallas.
Guess how many the second place team has?
17.
It's a great guess.
Lower.
I was going to say 24, but that's
9.
got me beat.
Denver has 9.
Wow. All
in 9 games. So they have had a few more games.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
54. I think they had 18 in the series against the T-Wolves.
Wow.
So you can't get into those. You can't let a lot of that is playing that drop coverage where you can get behind the defense. So I feel like they're going to try to put Tatum on Lively or Gafford, so that way I think Jalen and Drew will start off on Luka, but it's going to be a team effort.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Derek White is probably the best guy to put on Kyrie. But the problem is when, if they can sort of slow down the lob game, if they start doing Luka Kyrie pick and rolls, because I think Luka just has too much weight for Derek White. He's just going to use his butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least physically, Jalen and Drew and Tatum, I think, can hold up. It doesn't mean he's not going to score. He's going to score. But can you slow him down and can you make him inefficient at times throughout this series? So, yeah. I don't know. Porzingis and Al probably put on Derek Jones Jr. or PJ because they don't want those pick and rolls going with the bigs there because that's dangerous. As we saw in the Minnesota series. Against pick and roll ball handlers, the Celtics have allowed 20.9 points per game in the playoffs. It's 15 out of 16 teams. So that's really dangerous, right? Because Luka's maybe the best pick and roll ball handler in the league.
Yeah.
All right. Minnesota, though, offense was like, I think it was the 17th or 18th best. Ben, you think this is going to be... Because I don't know, I feel like I hear a lot of talk about how are the Celtics going to stop Luka? How are the Celtics going to stop Kyrie? Blah, 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 blah. And we talk about, the Mavs defense is good. But is this going to be a whole different challenge for the Dallas defense on the other end?
Yeah, I think so. You're not playing some offensive scrubs with a young fire starter who can't keep it going. This is a team that they've established themselves. They're very comfortable in their offense, and they're a bunch of guys that get shots. Tatum hasn't been shooting well from three, but it hasn't mattered. They're still taking a huge volume of threes, and the rest of the team is hitting them. When you have a guy like Tatum as a deterrent, you're just gonna they click. They make shots. Porzingis is probably going to come back. So, yeah, this is not going to be easy for the Mavs.
No.
What do you think, Danny?
Oh, yeah, a lot of trouble. You got Tim and Brown. I just think Brown's going to go off on a few games. Who's going to guard him?
I don't know. For them, the matchup's kind of weird. I don't know what they do with Derek Jones Jr. and PJ because those are going to be the two guys
guarding people, right?
Yeah,
guarding the two wings.
Which I think the big thing is that unlike Minnesota, who couldn't throw it to say, "Hey, Jaden McDaniel, let's run an action with Jaden McDaniels to get Luka in the action."
Yeah,
right. Like the Celtics are super happy to put Drew in the action.
Yeah.
We're super happy to put Derek White in the action.
Exactly.
They're happy to, if you want to concede that switch to Kyrie, Jalen and Tatum will just punish that on the paint.
I agree.
And one of the bigger things is I think OKC is the best comp for what the Celtics are going to bring, but it's not even that good of a comp because OKC, they love getting to the rim. And Dallas could help off of Giddey, or, I don't know, you're just not that scared of Cason Wallace, Jalen Williams, Aaron Wiggins, and Lou Dort firing from three.
No.
They don't shoot that many. OKC shot the third least amount of threes in the league this year.
Crazy.
So that's going to be a crazy different story. And if you leave Derek White or Drew Holiday open, you're asking for death.
You're gonna pay for it.
And Chet only shot 22% in that series. So,
I just feel like the Celtics team doesn't have holes the way those other teams did against the Mavs.
yeah.
And, the Mavs have some holes too in terms of offensive player, defensive player, where the Celtics is incredibly balanced.
The other thing is Dallas has been really good at the rim defending, but the Celtics will play 5 out. So you really can't
just
those
rely
big
on
guys
that.
are going to have to guard on the perimeter, and that's where I really like the Celtics in this series is their ability to and this is I think very contingent on Porzingis because Al's had a bunch of games this postseason where you just feel confident that he's going to miss the shot when he's open. Those old legs. He's had a couple of games where you get burned, but can he burn you for a whole series? I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's very contingent on Porzingis' health, which he scrimmaged the last 2 days. He seemed, cautiously optimistic that he's going to play in game 1. But it's a different team without him because then they have to start going to, Tillman or Luke Cornett. And if they get in those situations where they have to play a traditional big, non-shooting big, Dallas can really squeeze.
Yeah.
But if you have those...
Cornett could shoot, right?
He doesn't, though.
He doesn't, though? That's fair.
No, not anymore. Nor do I want him
to shoot. Okay.
If Cornett is playing in this series, I'm terrified. Also, it gives... If Porzingis plays, Al can play 25 minutes and be much fresher when he comes into the game.
It's true.
And he's been terrorized on switches on the defensive end too. But I feel like if he's not playing 38 minutes, you might feel more comfortable with him switching out onto a Luka. Not all the time, but some of the time. So I think that's where their big advantage is.
Yeah.
Also, Porzingis on the defensive end, right? Opponents are shooting 70.6% at the rim against Boston.
Wow.
That's 16th out of 20 teams in the postseason. But when Porzingis plays, opponents shoot 60.3%. That's in the 96th percentile, according to Cleaning Glass. They shoot 6.1% worse with Porzingis on the court in general. That's in the 95th percentile.
Oh.
Plus, that Pacers series where Porzingis didn't play and they were hitting all their shots.
All those mid-range shots. It affects the front layer of the defense too.
Yeah.
Like how aggressive do you want to play? Because if you can't defend the back, if you get burned, you're fucked. Right? It's going up.
Right.
And that's not to say this team could I felt like they didn't defend the rim very well in the majority of as the numbers show in the majority of the playoffs they haven't, but in little pockets it's been a block party at the rim. Like the game 4 against the Pacers, Jalen had that huge block and then came down and made the pass to Derek White to ice that game. So they've got guys who can do it, but it's just different when you have a big 7'3" guy. Also, the lobs, those are going to be harder to get if you've got a 7'3" Latvian down there.
Yeah, it really is.
I know they just had a 7-something Frenchman down there. But
he couldn't do shit.
Here's one stat for the Mavs. Derek Jones Jr. He's a career 31.6% 3-point shooter. He's shooting 39% in the playoffs. Very low volume. He has 21 made threes. 19 of them are wide open.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's just kind of the pressure.
Those wide open looks.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, and heading into that, let's go into some X factors here. Who do you guys think? So non-stars, who do we think is the biggest X factor? Speaking of Derek Jones Jr., he could be an X
He
factor.
could definitely be an X
Who do you
factor.
guys
Definitely.
Who do you guys think? Who's your favorite we'll cut out the four there.
The big
The
four.
four stars.
The
Yeah.
4 stars. I'm gonna say PJ Washington.
Why PJ?
Big X factor. I mean, it's just if he goes off for a game, could be a real difference in the series. If he has like a big 40-point game where he's just sinking all these threes. And of course, he's gonna be guarding like Tatum and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, on both sides, he could be a huge difference maker for the Mavs. At least on the Mavs side, I'll say he's probably my
Yeah, I
go-to
agree.
X factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean he was second on the team in points per game in that
Yeah.
OKC series.
Yeah, some big games.
Which I think is like we said, it's the best comp. So I think that's what the series is more so going to look like.
Yeah, compared to
And
the
the Wolves,
Minnesota.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think, Ben?
In
you
the
got?
same vein, I'll take Derek Lively.
Oh,
Ooh,
why
my
you
other
like
Derek.
Lively?
Mostly his hair. No, I like his action down low, his sort of versatility, the way he fits within the flow of Mavericks offense and defense, dare I say.
You
Yeah.
said it.
I mean, he's got one of the
With all those
best.
options.
He's got one of the best plus minuses in the entire playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the best plus minuses. He was out for that game they lost to the Timberwolves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just like seeing a rookie come in and
Be an
really
X factor.
swing things. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
For
Me
sure.
too. I like that.
He's just so good, like on the roll.
Rose, yeah.
Mhm.
In the short roll, because you can kind of double and have them force the pass to Gafford and get away with it,
Yeah.
because he's not a great decision maker or passer out
No.
of the short roll there in the middle of the court. I know I've said this before, but yeah, Lively can really spread the ball out from there, and then you get into some swings, and that's how you get to those corner threes where you're like, oh shit, Kyrie's on the wing, let's get to Kyrie, and all of a sudden PJ or DJ DJJ, Derek Jones Jr.
Oh, DJ PJ, got it. Don't forget DG and,
is shooting wide open in the corner when that happens. So he's a weapon for sure.
Oh yeah.
And he's a rookie, so this is gonna be a big stage. But the way he's played so far, I don't know why you wouldn't have confidence in him at this point.
No.
yeah.
Here's-
And it's also it's not just about scoring, right? It's like the way
Yeah.
you
The
were
little
saying,
things.
being a little cog
Cog
around
in
which
the
things
wheel.
can twist, which is helpful to Luka
Exactly.
because Luka can't just score
Exactly.
their way to a championship.
No.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I think the Celtics need to do is just try to make
Make him a
Luka
scorer. Yeah.
do as much scoring as possible.
Yeah.
I agree.
Try to cut out these the role players, because if those guys aren't doing anything, it's going to be really tough for the Mavs to get enough. As long as it's not
Get much
easy
going, yeah.
for Luka,
Oh yeah.
they're not going to win if those other role players aren't doing their thing.
Aren't stepping up. Yep.
I mean, obviously, I think Porzingis is the biggest X factor. Like, can he play?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I got one for you. Joe Mazzulla.
Joe Mazzulla. Why Joe?
He's never been to the finals.
Well, he's on the bench.
That's not the same thing, man.
He was in the second row. He was one of those second row coaches.
Second row Joe.
That's why they call
yeah.
him second row Joe.
Second
Oh,
Rojo.
Do basketball teams go to the White House if they win a chip like football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they do. Yeah, I remember those pictures.
Stephen.
Yeah, Joe is gonna meet Joe. Sleepy Joe meets Second Row Joe.
They went to the
Oh.
Serbian White House last year.
Oh,
I know.
the
I don't think so.
The belly dome, not the belly dome. Oh man.
Shout out to Billy Dome.
I mean, yeah. I like PJ. PJ is definitely a big swing player
For
in the
sure.
series.
And Porzingis.
Yeah, I think Joe. I don't know, Joe. I don't think this is going to be a big coaching like a lot of adjustments in this series.
Could be.
I don't know. Just because,
These teams are kind of set.
The Celtics
what they
really know what they are, and they're not really. I mean, they can make. There are small adjustments. We'll see. How they decide to help.
Yeah.
Off of Luka, whether the lob game's really killing, so they need to shrink in a little bit and maybe give more. But you get in trouble there when you do that because then you get those cross court passes to the corner.
Yeah.
I like Drew Holiday as like a little bit of a team stabilizer. They go down 3-2 or something, and he's like, all right.
Yeah. Well, Drew just is gonna make some weird. Well, it's not weird. He's just gonna make some big time play at the end of a game.
Yeah, but something so innocuous like throwing the ball off a guy's shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does this in every series he's ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd expect one or two. Also, if the Mavericks decide that they want to try to throw a big on Drew or Derek White because they want to cover Porzingis with like PJ or Derek Jones.
Yeah.
Because that way you don't have to. You can switch the pick and roll at the top. And it's a more versatile defender out there. Easier to recover. They don't have to. They're big. Drew, and they did this when the Nuggets played. I think it was the second game. The Nuggets played the Celtics. Jokic was
Drew.
In the second half. The beginning of the second half, the Celtics got like 2 straight Porzingis pick and pop threes with Joker covering him.
Yeah,
and then they put Joker on Drew. It took a while for the Celtics to figure, hey, maybe Drew do some shit.
Yeah,
and then if you remember at the end of that game, he hit like 2 big threes over Jokic to bring them within striking distance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if they try to do something like that, and this is why the Celtics are so dangerous, is because putting any big on any of those guys I'm not sure you can do it and get away with it.
Career suicide.
But if they do try to do that, Drew's got to take advantage. So I like that. I think Al's always a big swing player.
He's
hitting threes.
Gotta include Al. Gotta include Derek.
The No Shots podcast is brought to you by Dank Delish Coffee. You can find Dank Delish coffee beans at dankdelish.com and have their deliciousness shipped right to your lovely abode. Start your morning with a cup of delish. Yeah. All right, next one here. If neither Luka or Tatum win the Finals MVP, who's the next most likely to?
Derek White, baby.
I would love it.
You said neither Luka nor Tatum?
I think I'm going Jaylen Brown.
If those guys are out, who's the next most likely to win?
It's gotta be JB for me, baby.
Between JB
well,
and
I
Kyrie?
already took JP.
I didn't realize there was an exclusivity to this question. Okay.
You can pick whoever you want.
I'm going PJ Washington then, bitch.
Oh, I already got him for the X Factors.
You can pick whoever you want.
PBJ, LeBron James.
You can pick whoever you want.
Butter Jelly James.
No, of course I'd say Jay. I mean, Brown. He already won conference finals MVP. Do you think Tatum was pissed about that?
No.
Yeah, just a little.
No.
I think if Tatum really had Mamba mentality, he might be.
They had to get
soft.
Did you guys? Any of you watch that? I think the show's Get Up, that segment where they showed him. They showed Tatum after when Jalen got his MVP trophy, and they put the whole segment was about how does Tatum like Jalen? That was the whole segment, and they showed a clip, and they how they do that thing where they just put a little shadow over everything else except for Tatum.
Yeah,
and they showed Tatum, and he was smiling. And
well,
then they just
there you go.
Then they continued to talk about it. How Tatum is not happy that Brown won.
Then he's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I did see a pic of him in that little scenario. He didn't look that happy.
No, he was very happy.
No, I think they're going to give Jaylen Brown the conference finals MVP, and then they're going to give the finals MVP to Tatum if the Celtics win.
We'll get to it, Ben.
Joe Mazzulla was very pissed at that conversation at a press conference.
Oh, yeah, I believe
How
it.
dare you question
is-
my chemistry?
My team, how dare you question my
I want
playoff?
Joe Mazzulla
this
to
is
turn
what-
into like a
this is-
Walter White
This
type.
is
You know?
he kind of is. He the other day when he was asked about Kyrie being a villain, he said, "We're all villains in someone's eyes."
Oh,
I did it for me. Yeah.
Anyway, this is what Joe said about the that segment and people talking about how they don't like each other. Of Tatum and Brown, they've had a long-standing success at a high level, and so people need them in order to stay relevant.
Ooh.
They should not talk
Talking
on
about
speculation.
Stephen A.
They should get to
Talking
know
to you, Stephen A.
They should not talk on speculation. They should get to know them as people before they talk about that. They're two of the
Ooh.
greatest teammates and players that you could have, and it's been an honor to coach both of them. It doesn't mean they have to be the same, so it's bullshit. I love both of them, and they deserve better.
Oh, sweet man. But
Sweet
I'm
Joe.
throwing all that out the window. When you're an athlete and you play, I don't care whatever level, and an athlete next to you gets an award that maybe you could have gotten, it's got to sting a little. Just a little.
Sure.
Just a little.
He's
I'm not
already
saying
got-
we hate each other.
surprised.
He's already got the
now.
award.
He's got the award.
Technically
Yeah,
does,
well, he
yeah.
does got
I think
the
the
award.
whole
but
theme of this Celtics team, though, is sacrifice. I think they were very happy for Jalen. You know, what did Jalen
Yeah.
said? He said, yeah, I
He
didn't
thanked
expect
God.
to win because I never win shit.
Oh, he
So
deserved
I think
it.
they are
yeah.
very happy for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm going with Jalen too, because I think if Luka is not the series MVP, the Mavs have no shot of winning this series. That's my take.
Yeah.
Luka.
agree.
If
Yeah,
Mavs
that's
are
a
going
good
to win,
take.
Luka
That's a good
has
take.
to be the MVP because he has to play to an MVP level.
Yep.
And his supporting cast just isn't
Yeah.
as good.
Even if Kyrie does some shit like he did in that Cavs series, LeBron won the MVP of that series.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. All right, what else we got on this docket here? We got to move on to picks.
All right, let's get them. Let's pick them.
Pick 'em.
Ben, you're first.
Pick them round robin style. Private
Okay.
Benjamin first.
And how many games?
Well,
Games and
obviously,
winner.
how many games? I could do quarter by quarter if you want.
No, too much. We don't got time for that.
No, I'll take Celtics in 6.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Trash pick.
Danny, who you got?
I
Duck,
got-
Sergeant Duck.
I got Celtics in 6. Just joking. I'm just joking. Oh, man. I really don't know. I just hope it goes to 7. I'm going to go Celtics in 7.
The Celtics are the balls.
Wow. All right. I really didn't want to do this.
What you got? Who you picking, Chuck?
I really
Better
really
keep that
didn't wanna
same
do
energy.
this at all. I feel like there's a pit in my stomach doing this.
Feel like
feel-
J. Cole dissing Kendrick right
I
now.
feel anxious.
It's nothing with you making this pick. Nothing
I don't
wrong.
like it. I don't like the juju. But I'm with Ben on this one, and I'm gonna go with Celtics in 6.
Who's gonna win it? The
Sounds
Celtics.
horrible coming out of my mouth, and I regret saying it. But
Now
that's
you've said
my
it.
pick.
The pick is
I just,
in,
I
ladies
just
and
have to keep in my
gentlemen.
mind that I have no impact on this.
Everything
Not me.
every fan does matters.
Every fan,
Chuck.
whatever fans do matter.
Corporal Chuck over here with the big pick.
Yeah.
Anyway, we keep
I just
switching
think that
fucking
to
Chuck's
to
nickname.
top off the conversation, I
He's
just
captain, then became commander, then went to corporal.
Corporal, who cares? Yeah,
He's-
he's Admiral.
he's moving up and down and sideways on the ladder.
Yep.
That's right.
Demoted.
The
just-
corporal ladder.
Yeah. To
I
conclude,
don't even know what branch we're in.
We're in some branch.
Of
Branch
Coast Guard?
Davidians.
what?
That was like
All
a
right.
cult in the 90s, right?
Just to
Yeah.
conclude, I just think that the having to guard 5 perimeter guys
Yeah.
is going to be too much for Dallas.
Celtics,
And I think the Celtics are a very smart defensive team. They're not
Yeah.
going to stop Luka. They're not going to stop Kyrie, but I think they can make, I mean, really it's been Dallas's defense that has been able to push them this far. And I think the Celtics have more answers for that. And I like the matchup on the other end. In a way, Minnesota was not defensively. Their personnel was not really designed to beat Dallas. I think the Celtics' personnel is just a much better fit for this matchup. And I think
I agree.
this team's hungry. I think they've been waiting for this for a while. So
Who wants it more?
but it's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard 6 games.
No, Dallas is not giving up without a fight.
Yeah,
I wouldn't count them out in any
They
stage.
could win. They could totally win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no one's... Yeah, just because we all picked the Celtics doesn't mean...
but I think
it's
if
just
they
gonna be a
win,
rout.
if the Mavs win, it's on
Never that.
it's on the back of like just excellent play from Luka
Yeah.
and Kyrie.
Yeah,
And probably a role player going on.
One or two.
one of those
Mhm.
guys.
And maybe
So.
some, bad shooting from the Celtics too.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff has to align.
So yeah, that's our finals preview.
And that's our finals previews. We could book it, we could ship it, we could cook it. All right, let's get to the last segment of the hour.
I think it's been over an hour, bro.
You don't sound so excited.
Are we talking Tucupita Marcano?
Tu poquito macado. I butchered.
Bam, 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 bam.
Great name. Yeah.
Awesome name.
Big news.
Big
I know
news.
nothing, just so everyone.
Big
is aware.
news coming out of the baseball front, the MLB front. Tupaquita. What's his name, Ben?
Tupuquita Marcano.
Tupaquita.
Tucupita.
Tupaquita.
Tucupita.
Tucupita.
Tucupita Marcano. Like
Marcano.
Markowitz. Marcano.
Macano.
Has been
Infielder
banned.
for
Sorry.
the San Diego Padres. It's been banned.
Is he a
'Cause-
major leaguer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been banned indefinitely for life.
Is that why they traded for Reese?
Is he not from the Pirates?
He was playing with the Pirates last year. Was out for the season apparently. Started-
the season.
Started banging on games while still being with the team in the dugout, in street clothes and his little
Mhm.
warmer jacket or whatever they wear when you're injured in baseball. Yeah, he was banging on the Pirates. He wasn't playing on player props.
No, he actually, his last appearance. Oh, I see. Never mind.
He's on the Padres this
Sorry.
year.
Go on.
He wasn't playing on players props, but he was betting on how many runs will be scored.
Mhm.
I think maybe if the Pirates will win or not.
Yeah.
But he bet on the team he was on at the time.
Mhm. He bet on 25 Pittsburgh Pirates games
Yeah.
while he was assigned to the team. He was injured during all of those games and lost all those bets,
All those bets.
by the way.
Yep.
Which is
That's
crazy.
brutal, man.
Yeah. He
Ugh.
gambled more than 150K.
All right, which player is most likely to be caught betting on the finals this
And
year?
he's now banned from baseball.
Now he's banned from baseball.
Sam Hauser.
Oh, that's on one of these teams?
Yeah.
That's a great pick, Ben.
Svi
Hauser.
Mikhailuk.
That's another good one.
Someone who needs the money, right?
Yeah.
Omax, maybe?
Yeah.
Well,
Maxi
Max trying to
Kleba.
prosper.
He's still got a long career though ahead of him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe Davis
He's at least-
Bertans.
I'll go Maxi.
He's not
but
in
he's
this
not-
I know he's not in the series, but, just for fun.
He's in the Mavs front office, no?
Making decisions with those mutton chops?
No, he's just there.
He's just there,
trapped.
hovering.
Yeah, he's an assistant
Please
to the
let me shoot a
trainers.
three, please.
I can
Yeah.
shoot threes.
I could change everything.
Yeah. Crazy news. There was also like 4 or 5 other players who got suspended for a year.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, this guy's banned forever. Like
This
if you
guy's
go on
banned
his
for
Wikipedia page,
Why
it's in
him
it's in the
instead
past
of-
tense.
Why did he get banned for life and the other ones? Is it because
'Cause
he
I don't-
made 25?
I think he betted on the team
On his
Oh.
games, even though he
Yeah.
was hurt and couldn't affect their outcome.
Yeah.
Theoretically, he was, he had more information than the average bettor on those games, right?
Yep.
For the most part, like he knows the scouting reports and he's in the meetings. Those other guys, I think maybe they've just might have betted on other sports. I actually don't know. I know Sal Frank was one of them, one of the Diamondbacks pitchers. And then the other guys, I don't really know.
4 players, 1-year suspensions. I'm looking for it now.
Yeah.
Michael Kelly from
Okay.
the Athletics, and then some guys in the minor leagues. Jay Groom from the Padres, Jose Rodriguez, Phillies, and Andrew Saalfrank
Andrew
on the
Saalfrank.
D-backs.
Yeah.
Unrelated violations of the league's gambling policy.
Jay Groom? Former Red Sox prospect?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be good, but then he sucked.
Yep. Yep. I guess he's in the Padres system now.
Yeah, this is the rule, by the way. Any player, blah, 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 who shall bet any sum whatsoever upon any baseball game in connection with which the bettor has no duty to perform, shall be declared ineligible for 1 year.
There you go.
How do you like that?
That was a good reading. That's
Yeah.
probably the time period that rule was written. It's probably historically accurate. Such an old sport.
Gotta do it with
yeah.
an old time baseball accent, though.
Yeah, see?
True.
George Harmon Roof,
Let me do it
fat
again.
bat.
The betting data does not suggest that any outcomes in the games bet on those players were compromised, influenced, or manipulated in
Yeah.
any way.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah.
Oh, of course.
Of course, yeah.
So,
So,
what does this mean?
well, just more people are getting caught gambling. We had that,
Oh.
discussion. Then Shohei and the poorer news came up. What's his name? Yippee?
Yeah, Yippie's going to jail.
Yippiee's going to jail.
Yippee is going
turns
to
out,
jail.
yeah, it turns out our first thoughts, he might have just stole that money and just maybe. We don't
Maybe.
know. Weird.
Yeah, interesting.
By the way,
situation.
Shohei is just playing. There's no controversy with him for the
No.
past month. since-
Well, no one cares
no one really cares.
about baseball in the main eye anymore. It's
Yep.
not like front and center anymore.
No.
No, I suppose not.
Like if this was a basketball player or a football player, the coverage would be insane.
Yeah. Also, if it was just, well, yeah, I guess the Shohei thing was a big player.
Like imagine if LeBron James,
Oh,
like,
yeah, Patrick Mahomes.
because that's the level of player that Shohei is.
Yeah.
The guy, by the
Really
way,
is.
Mike Kelly, the guy who bet from the A's and got
Yeah.
banned for a year. What do you think? What do you think his betting total was? The amount of money he bet in total.
Like $8. I bet it was really
$15.
$99.22. He did not even crack
He
100.
didn't crack that.
And he won a
hundo.
total of $28.30. That's what my FanDuel account looks like.
Yeah, yeah. Facing like $5 bets,
Right.
hoping to
Dude,
get
that's
$8.50
brutal.
back.
Why would you do that?
For a year-long suspension. Yeah, he
Yeah.
probably was just fucking around and bored.
Rule,
In the
yeah.
G League or whatever.
His friend probably
Minor
stole his phone.
Honestly,
Possible.
like,
Maybe he has
oh,
a
yeah.
gambling addict friend who's like already banned from FanDuel.
Just
from
let me-
scamming. He's
just
like,
let me
hey,
put one-
let me just download
Yeah.
FanDuel on your phone real quick.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
Because it wasn't even his team. It was just could have been watching a game and
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy.
It seems strict. A year-long ban for $99.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand the principle of it, but now that
I
we
mean, they
have
get paid
betting,
thousands of dollars. They don't get paid much, minor leaguers.
well, yeah.
I
So
mean,
there
it's
you
a
go.
whole career though. It is enough,
Yeah. So like
so much to
imagine
live, and you get a lot of free stuff. Of course,
if I was like, Danny, you can't
I
work
think-
for a year.
that's tough.
I think
You know.
it's just that they really want to stigmatize this thing
Yeah.
in a way that
And I
is-
understand
using
they
these
that.
don't
guys as
want
examples.
what's the word? The integrity of the game to be questioned. That's what they're trying to avoid, and I think by by being so harsh on these things, it puts the league at a position of power, saying, "Hey, look at us. We're not going to tolerate this. That's how much we care about the integrity of the game." So,
Especially
I think
because with all the deregulation of betting and stuff.
exactly. So they want to get ahead of that. I don't think it's so much about the players and they just want to leave no doubt in the consumer's mind that anything could possibly be rigged.
Yeah.
Especially
Protecting the product. Yeah.
yeah,
I get
protecting
that.
the product.
I get that, but who cares if someone's betting on another team? I mean, I understand the possibilities
know.
for tampering are endless, but it's probably
Yeah, they
happening
could have
anyway.
friends on those teams that they came up with in the same systems.
But Tucupita lost all these bets. That's what's crazy to me.
He was probably thinking the Pirates were going to win these games.
Yeah.
And they had that terrible second half.
So,
but no, I get your point, Chuck, and I agree with you. I do think I understand trying to protect the integrity of the sport, the game, whatever.
The game. Protect the product.
Be a lot more exciting if they'd be like, and rookie Mike Tupuquita has $88 million riding on this game.
It would be crazy. It would be nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
For real.
Put him in like a little special box where they can't have any contact with other players.
Yeah. I think, I don't know where I got this from, but there was some podcast I listened to back in the day was that it would be great if, like, instead of like a designated hitter, like every team just has like one guy who's the designated hitter, but he's allowed to do steroids. You pick one guy.
You get
he's
one
allowed to
Goliath.
Yeah. Yeah. But how about this terms? You get one guy who's allowed to gamble.
I love it. I love it. He's going to try to manipulate the whole thing.
It's Ohtani.
Basically,
it's Jordan.
Really, if you think about it, owning a sports team is gambling.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble. It's an
form of
investment.
gambling.
It's a fair gamble. It's
That's what
business.
investments are.
It's business.
Stock market is.
Business, and
Just
I'm
legal
standing on
gambling.
it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I betting on myself.
Ow, that's you're out of there.
You're out.
You're out. Oh, a quick shout out to Angel Hernandez.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God.
The face.
Yeah. You
Face
got
of
any,
bad
we're
umpiring.
doing another memoriam.
One more memorial.
One quick.
All the missed calls, all the low balls, all the high strikes, and all the fake falls.
What was that Red Sox game where three of his calls got returned in the postseason game?
Oh man.
Oh boy. I don't know. All I know is the clips of his umpire hood are terrible.
Yeah, he's got compilations on YouTube.
It's
It's
bad.
nuts.
It's bad when
nuts.
your compilations are minutes and minutes and minutes long.
Yeah.
And you're an umpire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, at least Joe West kind of had like this cool cowboy like persona to him. Angel Hernandez was just like bad at managing the game and
Well,
just managing
do you think
people's
they-
emotions and just
Yeah. Do you think they pushed him
acting
out
willy-nilly.
because I know they probably wanted him gone a long time.
Yeah.
But the referee, the umpire union,
it's a union
wouldn't allow it.
Yeah. Maybe.
So
it
what did
was
they
very
give him?
sudden.
I don't know.
It was very
It's
sudden.
like in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Was he umping the season? I
Yeah,
think
he was.
So.
Yeah.
So
But he retired, right?
He retired technically.
Probably
but
offered him a big pile of cash and
yeah.
Possibly.
And he's driving off into the sunset.
yeah, good for him.
He is Cuban though, so I got love for him no matter
Nice.
what.
Hey, shout out
Oh.
to
Yeah.
Shout out my
him for
fellow
that.
Cubans.
You can
Yeah.
still umpire some games. Maybe go down to Little League.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
probably where he belongs.
Probably. Yeah, you just
'Cause with the
so
big ass
bad.
strike zone of his.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think CD Martinez is gonna be the new face of bad umpiring. He's a barred guy.
Oh,
He's got a weird strike call, and he just throws guys out willy nilly out of whim. I think he's gonna be the new guy that people are gonna hate.
No one listens to CDs.
guys, I forgot. Tony Brothers is going to be in this finals here.
Oh yeah.
How many over under 2 techs given out by Tony Brothers this series, or what do you think? I don't know how many games he's going to be actually refereeing, but I think it's probably
A little
1 or
gambling.
2.
By specifically Tony Brothers?
Yeah, because
I'll
he's
give
got
him
the
one.
lightest whistle. He's got the quickest tech
Oh,
whistle.
Okay.
Yeah.
He gets emotional.
Then
out
I'll
there.
take. I do think
I'll take the under.
there'll be more than 2 techs in these finals.
I
Yeah.
do think so too.
Yeah.
But this is Tony Brother Tex.
Not
I'll take the under.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be chill.
Yeah, I'll take the over
I think
since
it's
he
gonna
took
be,
the under.
take his melatonin before bed.
What about Scott Foster? We have the extender in the
Yeah,
extender.
yeah, extenders. And
He's only gonna come in for game 5, 6, 7. You know that.
big finals for Burke, JJ, and Breen too.
Oh yeah,
Might be the only one.
might be because JJ is reported.
To be the
They're
front runner.
eyeing in on him. That was the
For the
report.
Lake-
Honing
Lakers
in.
job.
Yeah, he
Um,
starts a podcast with LeBron, and now he's gonna become his coach.
It
What's up with
is-
that?
That's
Yeah.
insider trading, if you ask me.
No, that's nepotism.
I don't understand why we have to do these 3 people booths. I think it might just be
Yeah.
better if it's just 2.
Sometimes
Sometimes
the
it's better with 2.
They haven't had a chance to build the chemistry. I think Breen and Burke could work, and someone, Bill Simmons or one of his guests pointed out, like, they'll come in from a break and do the name calling thing a lot.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to make it feel like there's more familiarity between the announcers, right, Danny? You see how that works.
Yeah,
Um,
we did come from a break though.
well, there's going to be a commercial right before this in the final edited product.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see. Depends how you edit it, Ben.
You're so fucking right, Danny.
You are the engineer after all.
Oh, I'm gonna slash your goddamn throat.
Oh shit! Ben just cuts off all my takes. Just cuts out all my takes.
They
from the
would.
podcast.
They would.
It's just
No,
an
I would
awkward
never.
silence, and Chuck's like, "Yeah, I agree with that."
Yeah. No,
Oh,
I do
fuck.
think I love these announcers individually. I love Doris, I love Mike, and I like JJ too. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe
JJ
a
is-
2-person.
Much better with Jefferson.
Richard, I was gonna buy
they have
there.
a real vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
And
young players. They
yeah.
played against each other.
It's too bad Doc can't step in for the final.
Oh, it's
Oh.
too bad.
Doc
Come
and
back.
Burke were good.
They
I
were.
thought Doc and
They
Burke
liked
were-
that combo. That was kind of
Honestly,
like a parental combo.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna hate that combo.
Really?
I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no faith coming into the season. I was like,
Yeah.
Doc and Burke. I mean, I love Doris Burke, and I like Doc at times.
Sure.
I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
No, not.
But no, I kind of liked it.
Interesting.
And then Doc's out of there. It doesn't matter. JJ's gonna be gone now.
Yeah, that's the hilarious.
Who's the next guy?
And I mentioned that before we got on the air, but it's so hilarious that ESPN
Yeah.
fired
Jeff.
Jeff Van Gundy. Always getting that wrong.
Yeah.
mixing
Yeah,
up.
it's tough.
Fired Jeff, and one of the things that they said was they were afraid he was going to leave for a coaching gig, which would replace him with Doc Rivers,
Right.
who immediately left after probably like 10 games announced to be the
Yeah.
Bucks coach. And then JJ now is going to leave likely for the Lakers job. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of turnover.
Yeah, I don't know what focus groups they were conducting. I don't know. Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. Like I wasn't the biggest Mark Jackson fan, but I do think you kind of need that guy who's gonna say funny, dumb, obvious shit.
Yeah. They just had really good chemistry.
They had great chemistry.
I'm going to kind of miss
Decades
it.
of experience.
And it's
Yeah.
different because it's definitely the first run, but it's when you get to hear the same announcers for the same big events every year, it heightens, like you start to
Yeah.
hear those voices and you're like, oh, this is a big game.
It's the Pavlovian. You're salivating a little bit because you're like,
And-
they got the A team out here doing the finals.
And
Yeah.
I felt it in the, I feel like in the Eastern Conference Finals, where I was like, it does feel like I mean, I know the matchup and of course the Halliburton injury sort of ruined any suspense, but I think the game would have felt bigger if Jeff
was still there,
and
and
Mark were
Mark.
still there. And of course with Breen's great. He's the best. But
Oh yeah.
Thankful that he's still here. Too bad they can't have a couple more years to figure it out.
I know.
but,
I know. They're gonna have to figure this thing out. Figure this out,
Yeah,
ESPN.
curious.
So
what direction?
who you got replacing JJ?
Bring back Jeff. And I don't know who's next
I
up
don't
in
know
the
who
announcer
works
circuit.
with- I really don't know because they kind of
You probably already need like a
can't
job with ESPN in some
I
degree.
can't imagine Jefferson with Doris.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what? Give me Big Perk.
No, get out of here.
Give me
I
Kendrick
hate-
Perkins.
I
I'm
hate
putting
Perk.
money on it.
I hate Perk.
I'm not a fan of it, but that's what they're going
you
to go
think
with.
so?
No.
You think so?
Get me out of here.
I wouldn't be
I don't know
shocked,
where
though.
they go. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. My announcer knowledge isn't deep
Shannon
enough
Sharp? Just get someone from a different sport.
to really predict. But
this guy can't guard LeBron. Mike, he can't guard LeBron. That's my Sharp
Who else
impression.
we got here? We
don't
got
well, there's other play-by-play
there's
guys.
Rocco.
Ian
Rocco.
Eagle.
But Eagles isn't Eagle on TNT?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Malika
To
Andrews.
figure it out. No, there's no way. Because she's going to do like the
It's
halftime.
not a lot.
Allie
It's-
LaForce.
It's really
You need like a color commentator, so it's going to be like
Greg Anthony.
he's done it before,
I
right?
know. Yeah.
Wasn't there
Huh.
a player who retired recently, wanted to get into announcing?
Adonis Haslam. I don't know.
Did he?
No, I was just thinking of a
Iguodala?
player who retired recently.
No.
Iguodala.
I don't know. They got to figure it out, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Be interesting.
I'll do some research.
We'll
into
talk
that.
about it in the off season.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, listeners. Before we go, Avalanche Panthers. Who you got?
Oh,
prediction.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We're sorry, Danny, about your range.
Oh yeah.
You have anything you want to say about the team?
Let's go Oilers.
uh,
Sorry, Rangers fans.
it was a great run. Great team. Man, yeah, they just couldn't beat the Panthers in the 5-on-5s. They needed like a power play or just something.
Those Panthers are tough.
They're good, man.
They've eliminated the Bruins twice in a row.
Yeah, I mean they lost in the finals or in the cup last year.
I think I'll take Florida then.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Oilers,
Yeah.
but I just have a feeling the Panthers gonna win.
Based on my very little what I've seen, I would also take the Panthers.
Yeah,
Cool
but come
team
on,
name,
the
too.
You know, as a kid,
Oilers got the coolest mascot out there, man.
who's their mascot?
Like that Bobcat guy,
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Right? Is that the one? Am I getting confused?
I don't know.
He's cool though. Kyrie, maybe.
As a kid, for some reason, I had a Florida Panthers like. It was like a.
Yeah, he's great.
He is great.
He's
Look at
great. I
him.
like this
Look
guy.
at those jowls.
As a kid, I had a Florida Panthers
Maybe
like
not the coolest, but top 5.
hockey
fucking
shirt.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Wait, who was it? Oh,
Florida
Florida.
Panthers hockey shirt. I have
Kind
no
of
idea.
cool.
They are kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah, Florida Panthers, that goes hard.
It was basically a jersey, but there was no like name on the
Name,
back
yeah.
or anything.
Mm.
It was one of those.
Like 00.
Yeah.
There was no numbers, but I wore it all the
my,
time. I
My
remember.
Vikings jersey.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. It's not even the Minnesota Vikings, it just says Vikings.
It just says Vikings. Yeah. That shirt always gets me.
I'll wear it.
You wear it. You
You
better.
gonna wear it
next
next
pod.
next pod?
Why not?
You better.
Okay,
We're gonna hold you to
we're
it.
gonna hold you to it
Drive it.
because that's
Yes,
because
sir.
that's
Yes,
what
sir.
because that's what we're about on the No Shots podcast.
Holding people to things.
Holding people to it.
Yep. All right,
All right. That's it.
that's it. Well,
Goodbye.
that's
Bye-bye.
been the No Shots podcast.
Thank
Yep.
you for tuning in.
Email
like,
us.
subscribe, and email us.
You can email us at
No
Shots
pod.
Podcast at gmail.com.
Nope. No shots pod
No shot.
at gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can email us at noshotspod at gmail.com, and you can like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. So please go ahead and do that. We're still waiting on our first listener email,
Yep.
so please send us.
We'd love to hear from you.
Love to hear.
Give us your finals and Stanley Cup.
All right. You want to
All
say
right.
goodnight, Danny?
Good night and good luck.
The No Shots podcast is brought to you by Dank Delish Coffee. You can find Dank Delish Coffee beans at dankdelish.com and have their deliciousness shipped right to your lovely abode. Start your morning with a cup of delish. You can also follow the No Shots podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Like and comment. Thanks for listening to the show.